Excuse me as I kiss the sky. Hey guys, it's your girl Santa Ray here. I'd like to welcome you to Toxic Tuesday. Every Tuesday I'm going to talk about a toxic relationship that ended in the worst way humanly possible, with someone dying. These are going to be true crime cases. Anyone who has been watching me for a long time, you know I love to watch true crime on YouTube. So I decided I'm going to do my own true crime videos and hopefully you guys will enjoy them. So today my first true crime video is about Michael Giles and Kwaneta Harris. This is Michael Giles, a military vet who's originally from Louisiana but moved to Garland, Texas. He loved the military and was actually in it for 20 years. He loved traveling. His family considered him humble, loving, funny. He had never been married. He had no kids, and after 20 years of being in the military, at around 40, he had a tech support job in Garland, Texas. On October 12th, a VA agent went into the Garland Police Department to make a missing persons report. A detective by the name of Gary Sweet, who worked in the Crimes Against Persons Department, decided that he was going to be the one that sat down with the VA agent who was there to talk about the missing person. The agent explains that the VA owns the mortgages on the homes of military personnel across the country, and one of the homes in Garland is in foreclosure. She's actually surprised because usually these payments are made on time, all of the time. Double payments are even made in regards to this house. 46-year-old Air Force veteran Michael Giles was the owner of this home, and he had stopped making payments on the home over a year ago. He was actually ignoring the VA contacting him, and they thought that that was abnormal because, like I said, he had been making payments all of the time on time. His family hadn't seen him since July 2006, and this was around the same time he stopped making payments, and that was a surprise to me because I'm thinking, let me not have been hearing from a relative for 3 weeks and I would have panicked immediately and start looking around for them frantically. Michael was the youngest out of 6 siblings, okay? And he had an older sister named Gwendolyn. He had been saving for years so he could get out of this VA house and go get his own home. So he was financially in a very, very good place according to his sister. She hadn't heard from him. His mother hadn't heard from him, and let me explain to you why they didn't file a missing persons report. According to the family, he was texting and emailing. July 4th, 2006, he was supposed to come over for, cookout, 4th of July, that's what everybody does, and instead he texted and told his mom that he would be cooking at home instead. His mom had left a whole bunch of voicemails. He wasn't answering the voicemails, but he was emailing and texting, so his family thought that everything was okay. 3 weeks later, his mom and his sister and her sister's husband decided to drive over to his house because no one had heard his voice. They got to his house and there was a for rent sign there. Oh, his mother was so upset about that because number one, his Honda Civic was still sitting in the driveway. Number two, it was just kind of a surprise that he would just up and move suddenly without telling anybody where he is. So they called him and he texted, said he just needed some time away. Around that time, his family had assumed that maybe he had went to New Mexico because he was dating this nurse there named Felicia. The police could not find Felicia. His family didn't have Felicia's contact information, and I'm just surprised about that too because they had met Felicia. They knew who Felicia was. Why didn't they have Felicia's contact information? So back to after the VA agent had come into the Garland police station. The Garland police actually found out that the house had been rented to this guy named Robert Austin. Robert Austin had told the Garland police that Michael Giles's goddaughter, Kwaneta Harris, was actually the one that he was speaking to because she was supposedly handling all of Michael Giles' affairs. He never met Michael Giles. He knew Michael Giles existed, but he just thought that Kwaneta Harris was his goddaughter and that he was dealing with her and only her in regards to anything that had to do with the house. Robert Austin said after leasing the house for 6 months, he got some disturbing news, and the disturbing news was inside of a letter from a woman by the name of Tracy Knight. Tracy Knight said Kwaneta Harris had been killed in a car accident on her way to church. She also said that she was the new owner of the home and that she would be selling it, so Robert Austin had to move. Mr. Austin also told the police that inside of his leasing agreement was a stipulation, and the stipulation was to not dig in the backyard. That's kind of strange, right? So the police was like, don't dig in the backyard, like what? By this time, Michael Giles's cell phone and home phone had been cut off. So the police decided to pull his financial records, and they found out that money was being taken out of his account in Detroit, Michigan. It wasn't him that was making withdrawals though. The name that was making withdrawals was Kwaneta Harris. Now this was interesting because there was payments being taken out even after her supposed death. They ran a background check on Kwaneta Harris, and one of her AKAs was Tracy Knight. They also found out that Kwaneta Harris was actually married to a man named DeAndre Knight. So the police decided to do 911 disturbance calls scans. And they found out that July 2006, around the time that he disappeared, a neighbor named Christy Kirst said that she saw some Hispanics loading up some furniture outside of Michael Giles's home. And so when the police came, an African-American woman came out claiming that she was the new owner of the home. So the police didn't do anything, even though it was in the middle of the night. Nobody was breaking the law. There was no type of disturbance. So Miss Christy Kirst decided to write down the license plate number of the Hispanics who were loading the truck. The license plate number directed them to a man by the name of Francesco Vacuna, and he said that he bought all of the furniture out of Michael Giles's house for only $300. Now he was telling Detective McNair this, and this was actually Detective Sweet's partner. Mr. Vacuna tells Detective McNair that when he was doing a tree trimming service job, a lady named Katie walked up to him and asked him did he want to buy any furniture because she was moving. And so he bought all of the furniture out of Michael Giles's house for only $300. Yes, $300. He also said that the only thing that he didn't buy was a couch because it looked like it had a big blood stain on it. Mr. Vacuna's son was out there too when Katie approached them, and he tells his father and Detective McNair that Katie actually paid him a little extra money to dig a hole in the backyard, which is interesting because this was only 2 or 3 months before the new tenant moved into the house. Mr. Vacuna's son said he had no idea why he was digging the hole. He just digged the hole to get the money that she was offering him. So Detective McNair decides to show Mr. Vacuna and his son a 6-picture lineup, and inside of that lineup is a picture of Kwaneta Harris that both of them picked out as the woman that they called Katie. The teenager tells Detective McNair where exactly the hole was dug, and so Detective McNair goes out and decides to get a warrant to search the house. Meanwhile, Detective Sweet decides to go to Detroit, Michigan to check on Kwaneta Harris. As Detective McNair is executing the search, he finds out that the hole that the teenager said he had dug, where it was actually a cement slab built over top of it. And the detectives both felt, even Detective Sweet, that there must be a body underneath that slab. Now, you know, that's logical, you know what I mean? Because that's the first thing I'm gonna think. If you got somebody digging and then somebody's like messing and then suddenly there's a concrete slab on top, okay, somebody's body's underneath, right? So Detective Gary Sweets is in Detroit talking to Kwaneta out front of her house. So while they're digging at the same time, simultaneously, Detective Sweets is in front of Kwaneta Harris's house speaking with her about the whereabouts of Michael Giles. Kwaneta Harris admits that she knows Michael Giles. She's like, yeah, I've known him, haven't seen him in a while. She said it had actually been a year, but she didn't even know that he was missing, and she also didn't know that Detective Sweets was stalling for time, so he was just out there having jibber-jabber conversation with her, just trying to keep her around because he didn't want her to flee. He couldn't arrest her until a body was found, and he was actually waiting on Detective McNair to call him. When they did actually find out that there was a body underneath this concrete slab, so Detective Sweets Sweets invited her to the police station. He didn't arrest her. He said he just had some further questions for her, and then he would leave her alone after that. So then when they got to the police station, Kwaneta Harris began to tell the history of her and Michael Giles. He finds out that her and Michael Giles were deployed in Europe, and she was Michael Giles's neighbor and actually married. Before she was married to her current husband, she had a previous husband who was Michael Giles's supervisor. She actually got in trouble on base, and her husband was furious with her, so he threw her out and Michael Giles took her in. She had an on and off relationship with him for 10 years. 10 years, and no one knew anything about this woman. No one, not his family, his friends, nobody. So then Detective Sweets asks her, why does she have access to Michael Giles' financial records? And she says, oh, because we have a 6-year-old daughter together. And so Detective Sweets is like, excuse me, you guys have a what together? I would have been like, whoa, okay, what? And she says that Michael Giles actually gave her access to this account because of that. Then he starts questioning her about the hole in the backyard, and her whole demeanor changes, because prior to this question she was actually calm and collective, but then when he began to ask her about the hole in the backyard at Michael Giles's house, she catches an attitude. He then gives her this amazing revelation and lets her know that yeah, they dug up a body and found Michael Giles there, and she tried to lawyer up after that. She said she didn't want to say anything else until she had an attorney. So October 19th, 2007, she was arrested for the murder of Michael Giles. She was extradited back to Texas from Michigan. So the police are still doing the search. They're digging through documents at Michael Giles's home. They're digging through Kwaneta Harris's documents as well. And there are actually documents there that proves Kwaneta Harris does in fact have power of attorney over Michael Giles. They also found the emails that Kwaneta Harris had sent to his family after his death. 6 days after Michael Giles's body was found, the medical examiner actually identified his body and the cause of death. He had actually been shot in the head with a 9mm. Kwaneta Harris got out of jail. She posted bond. She was waiting for her trial to begin. Detectives actually went to talk to Michael Giles's financial planner. The financial planner says that a letter was sent to him. This Kwaneta Harris person, she uses all types of emails, texts, letters. It's just crazy. Just a paper trailer. She just a paper trailer. Inside the letter, it said that Michael Giles had a stroke and could not move and or talk and was bedridden. Kwaneta Harris was actually the one that sent this letter to his financial planner and was telling him that she wanted to have access to all of his finances. So his financial planner was like, whoa, I need to be able to see Michael Giles. I'm not just gonna give you access to all of his finances simply because you said he's sick. I'm gonna need to see him, right? That's a financial planner doing his job. He insists that Michael Giles come to his office to meet him, but Kwaneta Harris said he's bedridden, so the financial planner said fine, I'll come to him. So the financial planner goes to Kwaneta Harris's house, meets someone he believes is Michael Giles, sitting in a medical bed in the middle of the living room floor, face bandaged up, can't talk, can't speak, can't sit up, can't do anything. And I'm like, oh my God, Michael Giles did this? He was actually there? What? But it couldn't have been, because he was already passed away. So who is this person sitting here pretending to be Michael Giles? The financial planner saw his identification and he identified the man that he saw as Michael Giles. But Michael Giles had been passed away for 3 months. So who was this man that Kwaneta Harris introduced to the financial planner, who actually signed the documents that the planner brought? That's the question. So the police decided to show the financial planner a 6-picture lineup once again, and the planner actually picks out the picture of Kwaneta Harris's second husband, DeAndre Knight. So November 26, 2007, DeAndre Knight walks up into the police station for questioning. And he's like, no, I was just helping her with a scam. I don't know anything about no murder. Now, I'm glad he told the truth, because he could have lied. You know, he could have said just about anything. But he came in there, he told the truth. And the funny thing about it is DeAndre Knight and Michael Giles actually resembled strikingly. So the police were like, okay, I see how, you know, the financial planner could actually thought that this person was actually Michael Giles. Months later, okay, the prosecutor on Kwaneta Harris's case calls Detective Sweets and asks him to come into his office. I mean, he insisted, okay? Detective Sweets gets way down to the prosecutor's office, and it's a woman sitting there named Erica Flores. Erica Flores was 19 years old, and she had a defense attorney with her, and she confesses to the murder of Michael Giles. And detectives are like, excuse me, like, huh? Like, no, right? Like this, no, we have too much evidence on Kwaneta Harris. We thought you were going to say that you helped Kwaneta, but here you are talking about you did it. She gives the police this cockamamie story about how her and these two people decided to rob Michael Giles, and it didn't go right. She says two friends of hers named Juan and Vic tried to rob Michael, and it didn't go right. She says Juan put a pillow over his head and she shot him, wrapped up his body, and buried him in the backyard. So of course detectives think she's lying, all right? They're like, you're lying, okay? We don't want to hear that. They start asking her questions, and she couldn't answer, of course, immediately like she was supposed to. They asked her, what did Vic look like? She didn't know what to say. So detectives take Erica back home. Her mother answers the door, and the detective explains to her, you know, your daughter just tried to confess a murder that she didn't do. And he starts to tell Erica's mom the story, and Erica's like, hold up, I think I know this story. This sounds like my friend Kwaneta Harris's story. Come to find out that Kwaneta Harris and Erica's mother was actually cellmates in the county jail. Erica tells this amazing story about how this woman called her after she saw her resume on the internet and she was offering her a job. The woman claimed to work for the Attorney General's office, and Erica was being considered for the job. And in order to be considered for the job, she had to falsely confess to murder. The lady tells her that they are privately investigating the district attorney's office, and they want to find out how prosecutors treat criminals. She told Erica that they were going to put her in jail and for her not to worry about it, and they will get her out of jail if she did it. She was guaranteed the job if she did it. The lady even gave her a script. So everything that she said when she was confessing the murder was actually a script that them two had practiced, her and the lady. So then what do? What detectives always do. Show her a 6-picture lineup, and in this picture she picks Kwaneta Harris. This Kwaneta person is just diabolical, this lady. Man, this girl mastermind. I never seen nothing like this before. I ain't never seen nothing like this before. I mean, master manipulator. She was really good. So Kwaneta Harris and Michael Giles had actually been in an on and off romantic relationship for 10 years. You think you know a person. I mean, after 10 years of dealing with them, you kind of think that you're not gonna get murdered by them. She basically shot him in the head while he was sleeping on the couch just so she could have access to his money. She ended up burning through $200,000 in a year. $200,000 that wasn't even hers. On November 9th, 2007, a memorial service was held for him at the Golden Gate Funeral Home in Garland, Texas. In October 2009, Kwaneta Harris actually pled guilty and ended up getting 50 years in prison. And she deserved it. I mean, she was sending the family emails in Texas so they wouldn't file a missing persons report. Oh my God, I think this lady deserves more than 50 years. I'm sorry. Her attorney, Richard Franklin, said he thought she was one of the most intellectual people he could have ever met, and he doesn't understand why she would go down this route. Honey, the lady is smart. After hearing this case, I was just like, this lady is just brilliant. This is like diabolical. I mean, God. Now don't get it twisted. It is kind of dumb to do something of this nature. Okay, not kind of dumb. It just is dumb. So for her to be that smart, why she did something so dumb, I don't know. The prosecutor said had she continued making payments on the home and the home hadn't went into foreclosure, the VA agent wouldn't have came down to the Garland police station to actually file a missing persons report. So no one would have ever found out. She probably would have got away with it if she just would have kept paying the mortgage on the home. Oh, and it gets worse with this lady. In January 2016, she obtained a special Dallas County form that was forged by Judge Amber Givens, and the fake paperwork ordered that her sentence be reduced from 50 years to 8 years. They found out that it was a forgery because they called to basically confirm. Yeah, they had to confirm the legitimacy of the paperwork. I mean, how do you go from someone having 50 years to 8? Did she not think someone was going to check? Because of that, they actually took Kwaneta Harris out of general population and basically put her in like administrative segregation, because now she was considered a security risk. How did she obtain documents with a judge's signature on it is the question. So yeah, this lady is something else. What a whirlwind. I'm telling you that was just a web of lies. Like, oh my God. So that lets you know you never know. That lets you know, like, you think you know someone, and in actuality they can be something that they aren't. You know, you just never know with people. 10 years she knew this man, and she knew him so well that she knew his finances. She knew how to get access to him. Let me know what you think in the comments section below, and let me know if you would like for me to continue doing Toxic Relationship Tuesdays. It'll only be on Tuesdays that you will see true crime videos about relationships, okay? I appreciate you watching. Have vision and stay focused. Namaste.